Judgment time.
Welcome to Everything Comes Back to 2000AD, and tonight we're joined by Mr. Stephen Ross.
Mr. Rossy, what you want? Oh, the tree of ice cream cones, a cocoa castle for a home, custard cakes, coffee breaks, holiday world to say.
Hello from my closet in sunny, sometimes rainy, sometimes muggy Southern California.
Mr. John Burtis.
Hello to all you drockers out there from a very sunny Maidstone in the Garden of England. It's so sunny that Karen put the washing out this morning and I can see it. Well, I can't see it now, but I did see it when I was looking out the bathroom window, fully naked so all the neighbours could see me.
I must be still on a bit of a delay.
An Englishman tackle. Yes, you are.
There you go.
Yes, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
You
are.
You are 2, 3, 4. That's a long ass delay. Instead of loss. So,
well, he would live in the middle of nowhere where the electricity takes longer to arrive.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like rodents, so he doesn't have a hamster and a wheel to keep it going.
Well, you told us last week you shouldn't be having hamsters in wheels. Bad for the back, you said.
No, the guinea pigs are the ones that shouldn't be in a wheel.
Oh, guinea pigs. Well, I've never heard of guinea pigs in a wheel. Unless you get a special larger wheel.
They did try to make larger wheels for them, and also the plastic balls. They tried to make them firm, and just nope. Let them run on the floor. Just take the chance that they'll pee in it, and then eventually they'll be like a little puppy. They'll find their own little pee corner that they go in all the time.
I'm not having eventually. They can fucking wear a nappy until then.
Now that's something they should make. Although they'd probably figure out a way to chew it off.
So,
by the way, remind me when we get to Kickstarter corner. I've got to remind me to tell you the Warhammer thing.
The Warhammer thing, right? I better open Kickstarter so I can go into it.
No, no. This is it's neither of those things. But
all right,
I'm using coded language.
Right. Well, I suppose we better mention deaths. Let's talk about deaths, baby. As I scroll back up the page. Right, here we go. Right, let's see if you, Mr. Ross, predominantly know of this gentleman. Anthony Maitland, aged 90, British children's author and illustrator. Have you heard of him?
Anthony Maitland. I might know the books. Well, just tell. Well, maybe I do know the work and be like, oh yeah,
it's right. So Calvin did recognise the names of the books that he did. So
okay.
He drew 11 Leon Garfield books and 4 books by Ruth Ainsworth. Let's have a look. I'm trying to find the big name ones now. Fucking typical.
Yeah, so those authors did not. If they made any kind of impact, they might have made one like
it was
70 years ago or something. Assuming he was 30 when he was at his peak.
For his illustrations in Mrs. Cockle's Cat, he won an award for that.
Yep.
Won awards for Garfield's books. Where's the fucking names of all of them? I haven't got a fucking thing where it has all the lists.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, typical. Oh, well, I'm not going to fucking put all the names down, because I did see them all before. Idle Jacket says here in 77, Encore in 84, Secrets of the Shed. Yeah.
Introduction by Jimmy Savile.
That's right. So, yeah, I think there was a thing on the local news about him as well. But anyway, so children's author and illustrator. Next one, I'm sure we've all heard of this person. Robert Redford, aged 89, American actor. I mean, fuck me, he was in tons of shit.
Yep. Jeremiah Johnson buried the hatchet. When I was a kid, I was homesick a lot, and there was like afternoon TV was not made for kids. There was a lot of game shows, reruns of Hogan's Heroes, and old sitcoms, which before they all migrated to cable, and movies. And so sometimes the movies were okay. And during the movies, they would show like the movie trailer or ads for movies that were coming to the theaters. And I don't know why, but Jeremiah Johnson, that trailer was played constantly. There was some trailer. There were two blocks. There was like the kind of like noonish block where they would show like regular movies, and then there was a block after school around 3 o'clock. Kids are home from school. Around 4 o'clock till 6, they would start showing trailers for movies that weren't kids movies, but if they had like a car chase, especially like Roger Corman car chase movies or magic or kung fu or whatever. And some of these were like rated R even, but they didn't care. They would run them like during the kids' cartoons or sitcoms because they knew the kids would be watching and bug their parents, which is exactly what I did. So anyway, yeah.
How often were you sick, Rossy?
He had a career spanning more than 6 decades.
I was pretty sick. Well, before I had my tonsils taken out, I was sick a lot.
Oh.
Did your mom have Munchausen's?
What do you mean?
She made you sick on purpose to keep you home so she can go watch movies with you.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Movies were what we do on the weekends. Although, like, if it was a new Lucasfilm type movie or Amblin Steven Spielberg movie, I had a lot of earaches, so I could stay home from school to see them on the Friday that they came out. Cause
there you go. Yeah.
Go see them with the hoi polloi all crowded on the weekends. Yeah. So.
Right. So his career spanned 6 decades, and he received Academy Awards, Golden Globes, BAFTAs, you name it, he had fucking basically everything. He started off in TV series such as Alfred Hitchcock Presents The Twilight Zone, then he went to Broadway, and then I would say, I'm just looking at the dates of these, Butch Cassidy, The Sundance Kid, 69, to me would be his main film that broke him for me.
Paul Newman was the one that really
the
discovered
Candidate,
him.
The Sting. Well, I don't know what got on in the toilets.
Yeah, Paul Newman was the one that really discovered him.
Then he became and then he became a director, and he was pretty good at that. Quite a lot of stuff, including Ordinary People, The Milgrano Beanfield War, River Runs Through It, The Legend of Bag of Vans, Horse Whisperers, and all that sort of stuff. And then he set up also the Sundance Festival, which helped a young generation of filmmakers. And he also became involved in environmental activism and supporting of the Native American and indigenous rights. And he was also advocate for the LGBTQ people, just the 5 letters, no more. So there we are. So he's gone from this mortal coil.
Goddamn hippie.
That's right. Next one, Flint might remember this person from years back. You won't. It's John Stapleton, age 79, a British broadcaster and journalist, and he was on stuff such as, why the fuck is this not doing all the bits and bobs I want? Not that, that's a different thing. It was an ITV Daybreak, but he was also on Panorama and things like that. He did Good Morning Britain. He did reporting from El Salvador, Argentina, Falklands War stuff and all that. So he's done like proper news stuff, but he also did things like This Is Your, he was a researcher for This Is Your Life. So, nationwide program, he did that work on that. So he did lots and lots of news stuff, but then a much more proper news stuff, not the bollocks we get nowadays. And now, at the end of his career, he did more sort of a relaxed, informal morning news stuff. And I think part of his death was from Parkinson's. He had that for the last year. He let the country know that he was suffering from it, and I think he got pneumonia or something like that. But yeah, so that was a bit sad. Right, here we go. Now this name popped up, and when I saw what this person had written, I was like, well, hang on a second. I thought this other group had written that. So here we go. Sonny Curtis with a Sonny, 88, American singer-songwriter, and he was part of the Crickets, and he wrote the song. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
I fought the law and the law won.
Oh.
No, I thought that was the Clash. Only the Clash. I thought they'd written that.
Wait a minute, are you serious?
I swear to God, you put in Sonny Curtis, Sonny Curtis, Curtis. I fought the law on YouTube. Up it comes. There's a video of him doing it about 10, 15 years ago when he's quite old, obviously, singing it, and I'm like, oh my God.
Now the Crickets was Buddy Holly's
Yes, but he was
band.
part of the Cricket. It's
Right. So he was the part of the band that wasn't Buddy Holly, right? So he wrote the song and Buddy Holly sang it.
Well, I don't know if he sung I Fought the Law, but that's Sonny Curtis's song.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you didn't.
No.
I mean, okay.
So it says here, best known compositions include Walk Right Back, made shit for the Everly Brothers. I Fought the Law, covered by Bobby Fuller, the Clash and Green Day. Love Is All Around, the theme song for Mary Tyler Moore's show. More Than I Can Say, co-written with the cricket drummer Jerry Allison, and a hit for Leo Say. Don't fucking know. But yeah, when I listened to it, the way he sang it, and I'm like, that's interesting because it sounds like a completely different song.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because it says here, I Thought the Law was covered in the studio or in concert by many artists, including, and he mentions the Clash, Dead Kennedys, Bryan Adams, John Cougar Mellencamp, Bruce Springsteen, Roy Orbison, Tom Petty. I mean, I'm going to fucking have to listen to these versions, Roy Orbison's and Tom Petty's. Stray Cats, fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm Status Quo. Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, so I was so surprised at that name. And like I say, when I go on this screen where I look for the deaths, and that came up, and I'm like, I've always thought the Clash wrote that song because it's just so synonymous with them.
It does sound like something they could have written.
Yeah, because it's like punky, you know what I mean? I fought the law and the law won. But, yeah. So there we are, 4 deaths, notable deaths through different reasons. I suppose that ties into what Flint's going to say. Something.
You missed it. You missed the death. You know what death you missed?
Yes.
That you missed the death of late night TV. That's what you missed.
Oh.
I mean that
you mean the shows that have got no ratings? Officially got no ratings.
Well, yeah. There's a few things about Jimmy Kimmel's cancellation that people don't consider. His ratings were really low, and he was losing money for the company. So they did the same thing they did with Colbert, but of course because they did it with Kimmel, they used the excuse of his MAGA rant as an excuse to pull him. But the thing is that ABC or Disney really had no choice because there was a groundswell of affiliates that got Kimmel cancelled. There was one, Nexstar is a big one, and Sinclair. And they own like around, I think Nexstar own around 60 different stations or whatever. And they were outraged over Kimmel's comments, which were not factual, because Kimmel had said that the shooter, Charlie Kirk's shooter, was actually MAGA, which it wasn't. So they were outraged, and all their affiliates were outraged.
I've got to stop you there, Flint.
What?
Flint, I've got to stop you there. I'm sorry, but all of my Facebook page, I saw respected artists and writers telling me he was MAGA, no matter what anybody says, no matter in the future when it's all proven that he was ultra loony left, he will always be MAGA to those people.
Yeah, see, that's the problem, the misinformation. So that was one of the big parts of the reason he got yanked. But it was convenient too, because I think Nexstar were in the middle of a merger as well, and they didn't want anything to rock the boat, and Jimmy Kimmel rocked the boat. His show was constantly losing money, same as Colbert, and it was even lower ratings than Colbert. So it made sense to cancel him, and the others are for it as well. Like I can see Fallon being pulled and Seth Meyers being pulled, because that model doesn't work anymore. That's nighttime TV in a world of streaming and cable. It doesn't work anymore. And the thing with the FCC is the FCC are now beginning to enforce the rules. ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all under FCC rules. Now, if you have a cable show on pay channels, you're fine. CNN, Fox, they're fine, because they're not regular over the air kind of free airwaves. So any channel like ABC, CBS, and NBC, any of those are subject to FCC. So the FCC said, well, this isn't fair. One of the rules of the FCC is that you got to have equal time. If you're having a show with all Democrats on it, you got to have a show with all Republicans on it. Like, especially if it's a talk show or something like that. And so those rules were never really enforced. And I think Brendan Carr gave a hint that he was going to enforce them. So that probably tilted their hand towards getting rid of Kimmel as well. But at the end of the day, people talk about freedom of speech, and there is freedom of speech, but there's not freedom from consequences. For example, John, if you went into your work, or Rossy went into Romans and start calling everybody pufters, chances are he'd be fired by the end of the day, even though he has freedom of speech and freedom to say whatever he wants. So it's the same.
Chances are only one person would know what that is.
Yeah. Well, it's like, just say you're Rossy, you're really good at stocking your shelves.
The Chelsea supporter guy, he's the only one who would know.
Yeah, and he's probably not in a happy mood anyway after United beat them on the weekend. But
that's the other death, right?
Yeah.
So, well, actually, that guy, I tell a lie. We've got two of your people in the or two of John's people working for us. So,
well, it's
anyway,
it's like you're really good at stocking shelves. It's like you're really good at stocking shelves, Rossy, right? But whenever a customer comes in and you know they're liberal, you tell them to fuck off. You're not selling a book to them, right? And then your boss comes around and says, "Hey, that's Stephen Rossy. Don't sell a stock of shelf, but how come we're not selling books in that section?" And then a staff member tells your boss, "Well, that's because every time a liberal guy comes in, Rossy tells him to fuck off." Chances are you're going to be fired, and you can complain all you want about freedom of speech and this and that. At the end of the day, you're there at your boss's, pleasure, more or less. And I think people are mixing up freedom of speech with government freedom of speech. Like you're protected by the Constitution for the government trying to cover up your speech. Like the government cannot or should not be able to stifle your freedom of speech. But when it comes to private corporations or companies, I mean, that's different, totally different. And the sad thing is that when you see people being fired, when you see people being fired for their comments over Charlie Kirk, like celebrating his death, they were so wrapped up in their own bubble that they thought it was okay to say that stuff. They figured that the whole world agreed with them, and then they find out that the whole world doesn't. So that's what's kind of disturbing about being stuck in that bubble.
Well, a lot of those people were representing the companies, whether they knew it or not. They were representing whoever they worked for online, and like, you know, I'm not going to put. Sometimes I have to be a little careful with like the Jungle Girl stuff and the slightly sexy things that I sometimes work on. You know, none of it goes that far, but I'd still have to be like a little cautious and not go too far over the top. But then again, I'm not I'm also not that into it in my personal life that it's like, oh, I wish I could put 100% of how much I'm into this online. It's like, you know, it's something I use for anyway. But I have to be careful because I know that I'm kind of sort of representing Bromans on social media, and I never ever put anything political on there. And you know, people have to seek us out, and even then, it's like mostly you doing the political stuff. So,
well, I think that
I'm just like, people in general are stupid.
Yeah, I think the biggest sin that Kimmel committed was not reading the room, and that I blame that on his writers and researchers.
Yeah,
he probably didn't have anybody with a different point of view on his staff. They were probably all far left or left wing. So that was probably his biggest sin.
Well, the craziest shit was like for some of the people who had been canceled in the last 10 years, it was because they were famous. It was a slow news week, and or people got bored and were looking to get online credit off of the back of them. And they go like into their history, and things that were like edgelord comedy back in the 90s and early 2000s were suddenly like not okay now. And they'd get canceled for that kind of stuff. And there was someone who actually won a lottery or something, and they went back in their social media to the time when they were like a teenager, and he put something that was just like mildly not cool now. And I think he ended up not getting the money or something, or he got some kind of canceled for it. Yeah, I mean, there was like crazy shit like that going on. So my point is, so again,
well,
there's nuance to this.
What Kimmel did was worse.
But Jimmy Kimmel did appear. Yeah, I'm getting to that. So he appeared on the Man Show in blackface as a basketball player called Karl Malone. Now, in my opinion, and my opinion only, I don't consider that the same kind of blackface. He was an actor playing a character doing an impression of a specific person. He was not making fun of all black people, or blackface is kind of like black people be like, you know, and this caricature. But he was doing a very good impression of that basketball player, and the makeup was part of the job. Same thing like when Billy Crystal used to do Sammy Davis Jr. on Saturday Night Live. It was, in order for you to, he did a fantastic vocal impression of Sammy Davis Jr. You got the gestures, and then when they made him up, I mean, it was Sammy Davis Jr. And so he's only making fun of Sammy Davis Jr. in my opinion, and not even making fun of. You really have to like Sammy Davis Jr. to nail that impression as well as he did. So but because there's no nuance in 2025, they should have like dogpiled the shit out of him for that one. The sexist humor on the show, and also, you watched the Man Show, right, Flint?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So he would do these sketches with his wife at the time, and she looked like a housewife. You know, she She looked like she had had 2 kids, but she was. It was fun and funny because she was very clear on in on all the jokes, and they did a thing where she was kind of acting like a bitch, and so he was going to replace her with a monkey, and it was they brought in this chimpanzee wearing the same dress she was wearing, and it was just kind of like monkeys doing human shit kind of jokes throughout the sketch. But she was totally, and they did a lot of stuff like that. And she was totally in on it. She was like supposed to be this shrew of a housewife, and she was just totally game for it. And then he divorced her and ended up with Sarah Silverman, the hot Jewish chick comedian. And it's kind of like, wow, you traded her in for the younger model. How middle-aged of you, Jimmy Kimmel. And I forgot who he's with now, but it just seemed like a real, I mean, I don't know the circumstances. Maybe it was really horrible behind the scenes, but I mean, same thing with Howard Stern. He was, the whole Private Parts movie is about how she put up with this shit and supported him as he rose to fame, and then like he got rid of her and started going out with the Playboy model, hanging around the office.
The thing with that is that happened just as the movie came out.
Yes, how about that too? So anyway, Howard Stern is also a piece of shit, and I can illustrate that with kind of similarly to Jimmy Kimmel, because Jimmy Kimmel said during the pandemic or during the lockdowns that people who weren't vaccinated should not get hospital beds.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, and he said people taking the horse paste. Well, your show's brought to you by Pfizer, Jimmy Kimmel, and Pfizer didn't provide the shots for free. It wasn't done for the good of humanity. It was entirely for profit. So profitable that they used the taxpayer paid for research to develop the vaccines. So they didn't even have to $30 a shot for the so-called free shots that we paid for in our taxes. And then they ended up throwing a bunch of them away, more than they actually ended up using. And there was a lot of waste. So, but this was a highly profitable thing by the company that sponsors your show, Jimmy Kimmel, or your network. I don't know if specifically that show, but Pfizer pretty much sponsors somewhere down the line. They sponsor for every one of the channels and networks. So there you go. So yeah, that's pretty crazy. And had that horse paste proven to be any kind of effective, that would have stopped that new technology from going onto the marketplace, the new technology that they couldn't get to work for about 10 years and magically worked this time. So amazing how that works. And so anyway, he's for that and many other reasons, I kind of think he's a piece of shit. And
yeah, but even if he,
and unlike people who actually die,
yeah, but even if he is a piece of shit, that means you don't cancel him. For saying stuff that you disagree with. But the thing with Kimmel was it was so wrong. It was misinformation, and it wasn't even a joke. He didn't even deliver it as a joke. So, I mean, I don't want to live in a world where people cancel people for things that they say, but there is a sense that this is mutually assured destruction, because now the Republicans are in power, the right is in power, and we're going to go after you because there was 6 years where you went after Republicans for nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like you said, they might have had an off-color joke on social media. So this is a way of saying that the next time Democrats get in power and you think of canceling something, just remember that turnabout is fair play. So maybe they'll think twice about getting people kicked off Twitter or X or any social media platforms like that.
Right.
So maybe they'll think twice about it. So, yeah. Anyways.
Now,
well,
didn't we say years back? Didn't we say there'll come a time when neither lot are in power, and this will all come back to haunt you? You'll all, because they were saying free speech, but you're not free from consequences. So now it's gone to them. They're just going free speech, free. So what about free speech? No, hang on. The terminology you used was yes, you can have your free speech, but you're not free from the consequences of that free speech. But they're forgetting that bit. So, like you just said, Flint, and Mr. Ross, when you was in it as well, we all said it. Now the other side are in. You're all fucking whinging that what you did to them, what you did to Roseanne Barr, what you did to that Gina Carrara, or whatever her name is. I can't remember.
They even kicked off
Gina Carano.
They even kicked off a former president off social media, but let the Ayatollah on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's all coming back to haunt them.
Well, the thing is, granted, like using it as an excuse to get unprofitable shows off the air is, I guess that's fair enough. I mean, that kind of shit happens all the time. But I mean, there were doctors during the lockdowns who tried to be helpful and had like solutions for the thing and had questions that needed to be asked. And they were thrown, not only were they thrown off of social
their livelihoods
media,
were gone.
They lost their jobs. And like, it's like, yeah, well, in Cry Me a River for Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, if they saved their money and invested wisely, they're probably going to be okay for at least a few years. But like some of these doctors might have been okay too, but the profit margin is going to be a lot smaller for someone like a doctor or whatever. And then there were because of the mandating and all that, there were thousands of people who in the medical fields and in the military who lost their jobs because of the mandates. So, yeah, cry me a river for a millionaire comedian who's stopped being funny 10 years ago. And it's in the UK where they've been showing those videos with police showing up at the doorstep saying like, there was a post and we can't tell you where it was and what you said, but we need, it's like, that hasn't happened here yet. So we still, the free speech is like, yeah, but if you're an employer or if, private citizen, and they figured that out, the other side used it, and now we're living in the world we're living in now. Thanks a lot.
Well, the thing is, yeah, well, the thing is that next time Democrats get in power, they'll think twice about doing it because it'll all come back around again.
You think they think?
Well, if they're smart, they will. But I mean, there's some the amount of comic book creators that, like after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that posted reprehensible shit online is unbelievable. At least Casey's a coward. He reposted from somebody else. He didn't post it like directly from his own thoughts. He reposted something from somebody else. But I mean, some of the comic book creators are just absolute scum.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of language was like really violent and really vicious and really, but they've been doing that shit for years now. I mean, like something political happens, and then they like the fangs come out and they get like really just, and of course these are the guys who have never like actually been in a fight. It's like yeah, you're a little more like France than
well done.
Somebody hits you in the face with a white glove, a little girl, so it's like yeah. But yeah, so here's something so life-changing and so amazing that podcasts and media and all that, it's like it's got to bring value to people's life. Well, here's the most valuable thing I can bring to your life today. You don't have to post every fucking thought that comes into your head on social media. So, and you don't have to comment on every current affair that's happening. Amazing, right?
It's true.
I'm shocked.
I'm like a guru. So you could not post anything that day. You could not post anything that hour. And then the next day you could post a picture of a plant that's dying and say something funny about that. Or if you have an adorable pet, So
Yeah, you're right. You're right with that, because I've seen stuff on Facebook, and I laugh, and then I sort of shout Carolyn, and I'll say, "Look at this." I say, "Now the problem is, I could reply to that because I know this." She laughs and rolls her eyes when I do this. I could reply to that because I'm going to be right. I said, but I haven't got the next 3 weeks going back and forth with the lunatic.
So, okay, I apologize in advance to my beloved friends who have beloved children who are neurodivergent that said, winning a fight on the internet is like winning at the Special Olympics. It doesn't matter who wins, you're still retarded. So
that's it. That's Rossy. That's Rossy cancelled now.
I don't.
Yeah, well.
Now the thing is, I don't take offense with that because I see where it comes from. It's exactly right. It's like you're talking to mostly lunatics on the internet. You know what I mean? Who knows if they're bots? Because even when you say, I look at a thread and I think, oh, this argument's insane. And then I'll go to the person's page up and I'm like, well, oh, there we are. You've got 6 friends. You've only posted 3 times. That's a bot. You know what I mean? But the other person, you'll open it up and they've got like quite a lot of friends, and the conversations they've had on pictures they posted and all that, you think, okay, you're a real person. Why don't you look at what this person is? Because it's obvious they're a bot and you're having an argument with it. Fucking mad.
Anyways, that was the death of late night TV.
Yeah.
So, Rossy, what do you got in Kickstarter corner? Is he gone?
Mr. Ross.
Do you like the way he
Mr.
disappears
Ross.
off without telling you he's going off?
I know, I bet he's gone to relieve some of his kombucha.
Anyway,
Kickstarter
Kickstarter corner. We're in the last week and a half of Thugs, and it's going all right. It's kind of stalled a bit, so I think I'll start putting out some posts in the next day or two to try and pump it up a bit more, get more pledges before it ends. But I'm still waiting on 2 things that I backed from Kickstarter earlier. The John M. Burns book, Satara, or I think it's called Satara, and an Eduardo Rizzo book I'm supposed to get pretty soon. So that's it for Kickstarter Corner. What movies or TV did you watch, John?
Right. I'll just see them pictures you've put up. I'm just trying to. I don't think I've watched the film this week. I'm sort of slowly going through the Jaws 50th anniversary documentary. I'm halfway through that and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But I'm sort of watching up to an advert at a time because something like that I can do that with. It's like a coffee book table thing. It's quite enjoyable because there's a lot of the directors that we loved over the years are talking about this stuff and how it's how Jaws sort of opened their eyes of how you can make a film and things like that. So I'm really enjoying that. But let me just get onto my TV bit.
Oh, did I piss my way through
We
Kickstarter?
knew you were emptying your kombucha.
I didn't want to make some kind of grand exit. It's just kind of like if you say my name and I don't answer, that's what I'm doing.
So Star Trek Strange New Worlds, that ended last week. Where have we got here? Gen V. Halfway through episode 3 of the new series of Gen V, which is in the world of The Boys, and that's quite funny. So I'm quite enjoying that. Some nice explosive body stuff and all that. Tusking started yesterday. I'll not get a chance to watch that because, as I mentioned to Flint and Steve earlier, I'm going into work early tonight, so I have to watch that tomorrow. The other thing I'm watching and really enjoying is we watched the penultimate episode of Alien Earth, and I'm really enjoying that. Now, I've got to say, now I do like the thingamajig drinker, the critical drinker, the drunk drinker, whatever the fuck his name is, but he does not like it at all.
No, I know that.
Right, so now I like watching his stuff, and I like watching the group when him and the other ones, Mauler and all that, have their chats. But he's saying this stuff, and I'm thinking, well, the way I see it with the people who've been put into the robotic bodies, they were all kids. They're all cowards, scaredy cats. So most of them wouldn't do the things that you would expect visually an adult to do, right? So I'm watching him say these things, and I'm going, well, I sort of semi sort of agree with you on that bit, but I don't agree with you on that bit. No, I don't agree with you on that bit. I think this, and then what I decided was I'm just going to stand there and just shout out, "Cancel him! Cancel him!"
Now, to be fair, there's been some criticism leveled against him and his friends lately that ever since around the time of the Marvels and Indiana Jones and the Acolyte, they've kind of run out of things to hate. So they seem to be hating a lot of. I mean, like a new Marvel movie would come out, and they're sharpening their knives, before they even just when the trailers come out, because it gets more hate. The hatred gets more clicks, and they're a lot funnier when it's that bad. They're roasting it, but if it's just kind of a mid show or whatever, it's like it gets kind of. And Alien's one of the bigger franchises too, so yeah, I know you guys love it, so I don't doubt that it's probably much better than what they're saying. But
it's got its faults, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
nothing's perfect, right? But it's got its faults. But I can see past most of them because, like I say, the main characters of those kids they're all dying and they all have their consciousness put into the android type figures, but the androids are all adults, right? With quite
well, they're
power.
synths.
They lift things up easy. They've got the synths, yeah. But the thing is, they're still children at heart. You know what I mean? So when they're being taught to do these things, and when they're being taught to do things by the corporation, now the thing was, I think they were saying, well, that wouldn't happen. Well, this is in the future, and who knows what fucking insane things corporations would do because they own people. You know what I mean? So who knows? And you've got to sort of like let some things go. It's like I say in the world of 2008, I'll let certain things go in that, but I won't let physical things go. Where like when Dredd was that story years ago where Dredd lost about 300 pints of blood and he was still there by himself fighting them all off. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I mean? It's a bit of in certain things. I can take the futuristic stuff, but not realism on, not unrealistic stuff on certain things. But with this, I think the only thing that they do like is the design work. Now the design work is fantastic. My personal thing that I really enjoy the most is the tension build-up. Really, where it's so creepy. You know what I mean? On certain characters, you're just like, oh, what's the meaning of him? Why is he like this? You know what I mean? Like you got certain characters, like what's his name from the young ones?
Aid Edmondson.
What his real name is? I'll hear Flint. That's Aid Edmondson. Now he is basically telling the boss things to do. The young billionaire or trillionaire, whatever money he's got. So you're just thinking, well, is there somebody higher up than the billionaire boss who Aid Edmondson is really working for in a sort of like undercover thing? Even though they've said like 4 or 5 companies run the planet. Well, there's that sort of thing with that creepy side of it. There's the other side between the 2 companies that are fighting for the alien stuff, because you're thinking, well, somebody knew it was there. They were going for it. But my personal thing is the crap reactions from the military sort of security. There's a big You've watched the latest one, haven't you, Flint, where it ends on the boat?
Yeah, but the thing is, they can't shoot anyways because they want those kids brought in alive.
I know, but the way they all just stood there and did nothing when they've got equipment to capture them. They had that net thing that caught that alien, didn't they? They fired that out earlier on, but we didn't see who did it. But then we saw them carrying it in the box.
Yeah.
So it had to be his troops that did that. So they've got lethal stuff. So why didn't they do it? They've got on the weapons. They've got that fucking thing that fries their circuits type of thing. So why? It was the way they all stood around dumbfounded. So it's things.
Well,
like
they
that,
probably couldn't fire in because they were afraid of hitting their teammate.
Fuck them. Hey, fuck them because they probably voted differently.
But the show is very clever.
My
though.
personal thing is, I want. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I do sit there and listen to the thingy drinker and wonder what he's seeing. But now that you said that, Rossy, about the other stuff, I go, right, so they're just doing it. Presumably they're just doing it for that. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. What else have I just got?
Well, the thing with Alien Earth is that what impresses me about Alien Earth is that it's put new spins on a 40-year-old over 40-year-old franchise that I was never expecting, because when you hear of a new Alien movie come out, you're going, oh, it's going to be the same, it's going to be the face, and someone's going to get their face smashed in by the alien, and it's going to be this, it's going to be that. You expect it to be same old, same old. What they did with Alien Earth was completely different. Like it really did put fresh air into that franchise.
That's amazing, actually. That's part of why I gave up. After the last couple of Alien movies, I kind of gave up on it. It was,
right? Because you expect it to be the same old.
Well,
you
need to wait until we watch the final episode.
Right.
Well, like I say, you need to wait till we watch that final episode this week, and then we'll see if it all fits in, and it's got like cliffhangers for the next season, or they wrap it all up. Who knows? No idea yet. But we shall see where it goes.
Well,
I do agree with the critical drinker on
the breakout character
that's the fucking main police. That's the main police. The main police are coming for me because you, Flint, you bastard.
The breakout character is the octopus eye guy. He's been the breakout character in it, and he doesn't even speak.
You know what? My God, I forgot to say that. Near the end of the episode, and they go, and they say, "We need to put that in a person." And I'm like, I knew that was coming. You fucking evil bastards!
Who do you think is going to be the? Who do you think the person's going to be? I think it might be the woman scientist.
I think it might be it, but I hope by accident it gets in the billionaire.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be funny.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Oh, dear.
Oh, God, this delay is killing me. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, I saw something, not reference TV and stuff, but I saw Jock posted up a short video of 10, 15 seconds of I presume it's a shop, getting a box load of his Dread art books, which weren't the slipcase ones, because you can only get them from 2000 AD or Rebellion. And they did look very good when the bloke flicked the pages over. So I did this was on Twitter, so I did a reply saying, I look forward to my slipcase edition, which I got a like from Jock from. But it looks really nice.
I
honestly can't wait for that. Possibly.
Just wait a few weeks and it'll be 80% off in the web shop.
Well, I can risk that on other things, but with that one, it's something that, because his Art of Jock book, which I got from him, is absolutely stunning. The design work that went into it, with all these gatefold pages and sort of like clear page that had the lettering and whatever, the design work folded out on itself and everything. and I chatted to him at one of the cons when I had it, and I said, it's really nice. He said he was fully 100% in the design work of the book. He wanted something that really showed off his work, and it did. It was fantastic. So I can, like I said, the few pages that the bloke flicked open onto on Twitter, it looked really nice. So I'm quite happy to pay the 50 odd quid that it was for the extra stuff with the thing, and I just can't wait for it to turn up. But yeah, it's if the artist is really involved in it, it's similar to when we've mentioned the Apex editions with what's his name, Dave? Is it Dave who's involved in them? The one who puts
David Roach.
David Roach, yes, sorry, that's him, Dave. David Roach, because of his love of comics, and I don't think there's another artist that I know of or met who loves comic art more than David Roach. The stuff he's got, I've seen I've seen a small percentage of his collection when he brings it into Lawless. It's stunning to look at. It's beautiful, but you know that he will not put out a book that doesn't meet his high standards. You know that these slipcases.
Well, he did put out a book that skipped. He did put out a book that skipped a major UK comic book artist, John Richardson, who drew. John Richardson. He drew Mean Arena, drew a lot of girls comics as well. He did Jetman. He did comedy stuff like Jetman and the CC stuff that Dale was selling.
Which
the Masters of British Comic Books. He's omitted from that book.
Oh,
completely.
the Master.
Yeah, he's admitted. Yeah, he's admitted from that book completely. Yeah. But you know what? He has Rufus Dayglow in there. For fuck's sake. So that's a big, huge omission. So I will never buy that book. I'll never buy that book because John Richardson.
Cancel him!
Yeah, John Richardson has contributed more to British comic books than Rufus Dayglow. I mean, John Richardson, like I said, he did stuff for Bunty, Judy. I think he did stuff for DC Thompson as well. Like he drew a lot of stuff. Even 2000 AD, he did some Future Shocks, and he also did the first few episodes of Mean Arena. And to admit him from the British comic book, it's like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Well, I did get those 3 books that Dale did, which were really nice.
Yeah.
Those ones. So I did like the art that was inside them, but I didn't really know the person's name. That he actually did some 2000 AD stuff until you mentioned Mean Arena. But
he did stuff. He did stuff for Scream as well. He did the Nightcomers
somehow.
He did the Nightcomers for Scream as well. I mean, he'd been on the British comic book scene for a long time. It's not as if he just appeared out of nowhere and just did 1 or 2 strips. He contributed a lot to UK comic books, and he wasn't even in that book at all. And like, what are you thinking? And then when I actually asked David why he wasn't in there, and he said, "Well, I couldn't fit everybody in." I'm like, no, but you had enough room to fit your buddy Rufus Dayglow, who's not even good enough to it's just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. He probably put Rufus in there because Rufus gets him.
You couldn't believe it, folks.
Yeah, Rufus probably gets him like original artwork and stuff like that. So he's his buddy, so that's why he's in there.
And chicks.
Anyways, go ahead, John.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that book dropping, and then I've got another Warhammer book coming as well about the same period. So I'm looking forward to them.
Warhammer? Did somebody say Warhammer?
Yes, Mr. Ross, Warhammer. Ka-ching.
Well, Kickstarter. We can skip Kickstarter corner because I got a notification.
Well, we just finished it anyways, Rossy. You were off taking a whiz, so we're moving on.
Okay,
we're on TVs
this
and movies.
Kickstarter, so technically it doesn't matter. Well, this is a book, so give me 2 seconds and I'll give you the world. So there was a guy who publishes like the small press stuff that I'm been very interested in lately. And he was joking around the office. They were going to do a Warhammer book that he kept calling it Warhamster. And then they said, you know what, we should make that book. So they put out a call for submissions amongst their friends because I didn't see this one because I certainly would have wanted to be in on it. And so they did a book called War Hamster, Tales Untold. And it's got an adorable AI picture of a hamster wearing armor on the cover. And it's all military. These guys are, half of these guys are veterans. So they're like war stories involving hamsters. And they said we didn't really want to do, some of them I guess did anyway, but like some of the guys didn't want to do like the Redwall thing, where it's like, you know, mice and badgers and squirrels doing Lord of the Rings shit. But apparently they had like very unique takes on combat with hamsters. So I was like, okay, the day it became available that morning, I was like, order, and I got it. And fucking Amazon, John, I'm glad you're not with that company anymore, because I had ordered like some blank CDs.
Some blank CD stuff.
Some blank CDs, yes. And so they put the book upside down in the box in the bottom, and then put the blank CDs on top of it with no cardboard in between, no protection, nothing was individually wrapped, which the shipping was free, so you get what you pay for, I guess. But there's a big old ring, 2 big old rings embedded on the back of the book, and the corners are a little bent from sliding around in there. And I was like, well, I'm glad I'm not as fussy as I used to be, or anal retentive as I used to be about this kind of thing. Also, these little small press books are generally not worth a lot in the future, so it's not like I'm going to be out. It's not like they've affected the resale value, but
it's gonna burn like any of your other books, Rossy. When you die and you're on your pyre, it's still gonna pull off. It's still gonna burn like all the other books.
That's it.
That's right. That is correct. So anyway, that was it. That's my Warhammer thing.
I see.
What TV stuff are you watched, Rossy?
So I did. So last night's live stream was about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie from 1990, and John might be interested in this part of it. So I looked up the director because I knew he had directed the Ant music video for Adam and the Ants, and which I really liked. But that guy also directed like most of the big music videos of the 80s. He directed the Billie Jean video. He directed one of the early Madonna videos. He directed the Take On Me video by Aha. Yeah, there was and there were several others that I was like, oh my God, even if he had only ever done this in his career, that would be very, very impressive. But I think this was,
hey, Rossy,
if not his first movie. He didn't direct a lot of films. Yeah.
Take a look in the podcast chat.
Oh God. All right. You can tell Flint's bored.
No, go ahead.
Oh God.
That's kind of what it looks like. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So Flint sent me a picture of a hamster in actual Warhammer armor. The book's in the other room, so I'm not going to get it and take a picture. But you're actually not too far off with and that's just something you crapped out in like the 2 minutes I was telling that story.
Yeah.
And oh my God, and then there's other stuff with Flint doing what Flint does as only Flint can. So his own covers. So anyway, so we all, and it was interesting because like there were 3 age groups. There was me, the old fart, who saw it as an adult in the theater and really enjoyed it because I came to it as a fan of the Eastman and Laird comics. And then there was one of the guys was like 10 years old when the movie came out, and like he actually had memorized the lyrics to the turtle power rap at the end. I mean, it really meant a lot to him when he was a kid.
Vanilla Ice.
And then there was a guy who's sort of in between. No. This was a side. It's funny because like it's funny how things because of the internet become like vilified way after the fact. Because I remember when that second movie came out, which is the one with Vanilla Ice, I remember not liking parts of it as much, but also liking parts of it more. And it got a lot of crap because of the Vanilla Ice thing, because he was kind of, not only was he kind of over by that point anyway, but it was also like the final nail in his coffin. But even that wasn't terrible at the time. And that, but like now, it's like you mentioned, it's like, oh my God, that second one, it's terrible, it's awful, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with X-Men 3. I didn't think the third X-Men movie was
Oh, that was awful.
leapily compared to the first two. I didn't think it was
Oh,
that
it was
bad.
all. It was
like, this is
that
Act
the
3.
third
All that has to
X-Men
happen-
movie. Listen, the third X-Men movie was basically Battle for Planet of the Apes. So cheap.
Which even isn't, I mean, it's compared to the other movies, maybe it's terrible, but it wasn't that terrible. It's the third act. All that had to happen is everybody has to fight and shit has to blow up. And that was the perfect director for shit blowing up. So, but there are cringy things. I don't think, the soccer player, the football player who played Juggernaut, that didn't work, obviously. There were things that obviously didn't work, but I thought, as far as like, yeah, as a lot of, as far as like having a bunch of X-Men doing X-Men shit, it was fine. With the second Ninja Turtle movie, they tried to make it a little more like the cartoon, because the most bizarre thing about the first movie, the thing that's wonderful about it, and the thing that's weird about it, is that the cartoon was already a huge hit. They could have made a movie aimed at little children, and probably wouldn't have been, it may not have even been as successful, but they definitely could have leaned into the cartoon a lot more than they did. But no, they went back to a black and white independent comic that was basically published like an underground, and tried to be faithful to that. And it was, because that first movie is definitely much more like the comic than it is the cartoon. And nevertheless, it was still a huge hit, because I think like kids were like, okay, that's the Ninja Turtles, I recognize them from the cartoons. This mid-level of like Gen X young adults who did read the comics were like, wow, that's kind of neat. And adults weren't like, oh God, this is like the cartoon my kids are watching. They were probably surprised that there was like adult things in there for them too. So it was funny too, because like Sam Rockwell's in it, that Shredder's like grooming to be one of his thieves. And I was like, who is that guy? He looks so familiar. It wasn't until the end credits I was like, that's Sam Rockwell. That's the guy who was, he went from independent comics like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to being in the MCU. And he was the voice of the leader from G-Force. So, and he played Chuck Barris from The Gong Show in the movie George Clooney directed, where he was like a hitman for the CIA. So, yeah, I was just entertained as hell. Structurally, and there's no getting around some of the faults it has, but when you're trying to do something that different, and then the way the animatronic faces moved, and the fact that they got like real martial art, like the studio that co-made it was Golden Harvest, which was a Hong Kong studio that made some of the classic martial arts movies back in the day. So the martial arts in this movie were pretty legit. There were stunts that I thought were like, even without wearing like the bulky costumes, some of those stunts fight things were pretty amazing. And then you put them in costumes where I'm pretty sure they couldn't see at all. So, and the character's body, the people who did the body acting inside the animatronic thing did a fantastic job too. And then the animators with the faces, like especially the rat Splinter, I mean, that thing looked real.
Wasn't the Hensons involved in that? Jim Henson involved in that?
But it's still...
I think Jim Henson was involved in that.
Jim Henson it wasn't just the Jim Henson Company, it was Jim Henson himself. It was his last movie. So, yeah, I mean, they put way more effort into that than you would think that they would bother to do for considering what the project was. But it was also, and so many of the things that they tried to do to stay true to the source material, like They even used the logo, and they they used like a storyline from actually they used 2 or 3 storylines from the black and white comic. And like the black and white comic was a parody of a lot of stuff that was going on in comics at the time. So like there was a lot of stuff from Daredevil. Do I need to go through? I'm sure you know it, Flint, because you worked on the show. But like the canister that hits Matt Murdock in the face, that makes
it's the
him
same
go
one that
blind and
mutates the
also gives him his
turtles.
Daredevil powers. The turtle, right? Yeah, and there's like, instead of the hand being the evil ninja clan, it's the foot in the Ninja Turtles. Stick is Splinter. I forgot what Shredder was supposed to be. And then there was one little bit in the movie where they tell Shredder's origin, and the guys who grew up with the cartoon and knew the cartoon from when they were kids, they said, yeah, Shredder, all the villains and all those cartoons that they grew up with when they were kids are kind of goofy. Like Skeletor's kind of a non-threatening goof, even though he looks scary. And same thing with Shredder, the way he's handled in the cartoon. But in the movie, he's a fucking killer and a badass. And like the final game boss asked the turtles.
Well, I think in the comic books,
he was a real threat.
In the comic version, they killed Shredder off in like after the first 3 issues or something.
Like in the first issue.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they didn't foresee that this would be the billion-dollar franchise that it turned out to be. But then there was a bit where where Splinter is chained up and he's telling the origin story of him and his master and Shredder. And I was like, holy shit, I had forgotten that origin story was taken almost directly from the Frank Miller Wolverine miniseries, which is like the first time Wolverine kills like hundreds of ninjas. And I was like, oh my God, that's in there too. So good for them. They just went there, right? And then I forgot what I watched with my dad. Oh, we watched some, I don't even remember the name of the movie. It was a horror movie. It had a lot of bloody kills and boobs and everything. I should have made a note of it. But it was produced by WWE Films. And I don't think there was anybody I recognize. I recognize the main guy, but he's like sort of one of those actors who's been in a lot of things. And you go like, oh, it's that guy. So it was an enjoyable watch, but nothing like, oh, you guys got to see this. And we watched a Jason Statham movie that somehow I either didn't see or didn't remember, called Killer Elite. And it was one of his older ones. It was based on a novel. And
you can't remember the name of the other
like
movie?
it just kind of went all over the place like a novel. I can't remember the name of the horror movie, no. But I mean, I don't know if anybody actually tracks down any of my recommendations from
who was the star in it?
It's not one that I would say like he was one of those character actors. I'll look it up I'll try to look it up while I'm talking, or while one of you guys are talking. But anyway, so but the Jason Statham movie it had some really good fights and some good stunts, but in the end, it was just okay because the story kind of goes all over the place, and it's hard to. Everybody is. It's one of those things where like everybody's a killer, and the only thing that separates Jason Statham is he doesn't want to do it anymore, but he's easily drawn back into it. So it was all right. The one I'm looking forward to is Scott Adkins has a new movie out called Prisoners of War. And the plan is to watch that and Tulsa King tonight. So I'm all ready for that. Let's see. WWE Films. Oh, by the way, Flint, that YouTube channel that I watch, that they roast bad movies, they did 2 of the Andy Sedaris movies with Julie Strain.
The best Sedaris movies are the ones without her in it.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, I would. I would. The others are way better.
I think she was I liked her. Well, the movies might have been better, but I like her. So, WW Films did Leprechaun Origins. Hey, Dave. So anyway, did you see anything while I'm looking this up? Oh, it's called No One Lives.
No One Lives.
No One Lives is from 2012. So, yeah, it does have some surprises in it. Luke Evans, who was in The Alienist and Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of like he's kind of like if you order Orlando Bloom on Temu. But he's actually pretty good. And like I said, there's boobs aplenty and a lot of killing. John might like it. I mean, there's some good kills. So anyway, I think that was it. Oh, I saw there's an hour-long interview with Billy Corgan's been doing interviews of rock stars, John, and yeah. So he interviewed Devo, and
you said rock star.
Yes. Well, he also he also interviewed Hall & Oates, so it's all over the spectrum. But it's really uncomfortable to watch them be interviewed now. I mean, they're definitely old men, and their voices are so wheezy, and they talk so slow, and they give the exact same answers that they've been giving for some of the stuff for the last 20. They get asked the same questions, and they give the same answers for the same things for like 20 years. So it's kind of like...
Are they a parody of themselves?
Are they what?
A parody of themselves?
No. It's just kind of like I when he asked the questions, I already knew what the answers were going to be, and with very little variation, it was pretty much that. So I'm like, if I ever see them being interviewed wherever, it's kind of like there was one interview when they were at a very lower than usual ebb of not really doing much of anything, where Mark Mothersbaugh is the guy with the glasses, so it's the other guy who he kind of kept waving the flag even when they weren't really doing much of anything. He'd go on other people's podcasts and YouTube channels and get interviewed and sort of keep it going with keep the fan relations going. So he went on some show where it was like a 2-part thing, and each interview was like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and he spilled tea all over the place. And he talked shit about Mark Mothersbaugh, and he talked shit about the record company, and he talked about his weird relationship with this girl he had, which was like this weird 3-way relationship, and cocaine and all kinds of shit. And I was like, I'd never heard these stories. I'd heard like implications, and like he had written a song about that relationship, and I thought it was one of those ones where like the singer writes a song like in character, he's playing a character. It's not really him doing like this weird shit. No, that was for real. That was actually him. So I was like, oh my God, that was one of the best, most fascinating interviews with them I've heard in like the past 20 years. And the rest of it's been so tell us all about the shootings at Kent State. And it's like, okay, here we go. So anyway, that's it.
Oh, right. Wow. Lovely stuff.
You got anything else to say, John, before we do the prog?
Just all you losers out there who have a mortgage off to pay rent, good.
What?
I'm the elite now. Obviously, I've decided I'm the elite. I don't have to worry about things like that. So when they're all crying all the time, I'm going to laugh constantly saying, loser.
Yeah, they're going to haul you away for something you said
That's
and then
right.
confiscate your house.
That's it. I'll blow it up like in the TV shows. All the ex-military are mad, so I'll just blow it up.
Your cellar might end up being on a bonfire faster than my shit. It'll be the government that does it.
Carolyn, I've had some bad news and good news on the phone. What's the bad news? No, what's the bad news? Oh, I've got to fucking get on a flight in the next few weeks to America. What's the good news? Rossy's dead, and me and Flint are going to burn all his shit.
Yeah, well, be sure to bring your masks. Masks save lives, because all the toxic fumes from the plastics and old paper are going to be bad news.
We'll get it advertised on the taco truck. Say, one of our patrons, Mr. Ross, is having a funeral pyre. Come and get your half-price tacos on Rossy's funeral pyre.
Yeah. Well, they have that. What do they call those? Like they have at the stock exchange with the lighted
Yes, I know what you
letters that
mean.
move across. Yeah, you could do that like they have in the front of the truck. Have them do that.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant, and like sort of a really bad picture of you floating by.
I haven't seen a good picture in 20 years, so.
Oh my God, it's going to be. My God, new fires in LA.
Did you know? Did you realize that the next episode we do of the podcast is going to be episode 800?
Yes, because I see the numbers come up.
Oh no! Until you mentioned it, but I do remember you mentioning it. So good for me.
800 episodes, huh?
Well, you did the 800 episodes because I wasn't around for the rich year. Well, I listened to all of them, but
No, I don't think you've been around for a long time.
I tell a lie. I listened to most of them. Well, I've been around for most of it, probably.
Yeah, same with John. John's been around.
John's the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I turned up to the on the Christmas one, and I turned up and I played the Darth Vader's Imperial March as I appeared.
I remember that. Yes, that used to be. We used to care enough to have like rotating music. That's amazing. That's when you said it would have been like, well, I don't know about I know from episode numbers now, but when you said a while back that it had been 10 years, because I think I came in around the year that the movie, the Carl Urban movie came out, and so it was just 10 years is pretty amazing too. I mean, most
the show's been going since the show's been going since 2009. It's longer than 10 years.
Yeah,
9.
And like Mega City Book Club long since gave up on keeping to the
Mega City
or 2000.
Mega City Book Film Club.
Rob Ellis
Cartoon Club.
Yeah, it's just it's basically it's like us where we talk about everything else in the world and then eventually get around to the Prog, and they don't even get around to the Prog. It's just, but Rob Ellis from the Contingent Zoom chats, he's the guest on one coming up, I think. So, I mean, it's like the 2000AD fans are on there, so it's like I guess it's still related in that way, but we're the only ones that will read not one but two Alex DeCampi stories for you, the listener, so you don't have to.
Oh, and just a reminder, we're going to have Drocktober as well coming up, so probably the next episode we will reveal the Drocktober list. Get it out there. All right,
got that out sooner than the Epstein list.
Yeah. Do you want to do the Prog, John?
Let's drop.
Barney McGrew, Cuthbert Dibble Grubb.
Okay, Prog 2450. We have a cover by Mark Sexton. What do you think?
Well, I'd have preferred Dread in front of Rogue. But obviously, it's Rogue all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the blur on the spent cartridge cases on the Rogue's out of Rogue's ejection port. Ooh.
It reminded me a bit of Steve Dillon. The Dread's face.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
It's great work by Mark Sexton, though.
Yeah, I'm seeing the when I see Bagman, I'm thinking of all those people who bought that, and then a few months back, there's a few people selling it, and people were trying to get in quick because there was only so many of them bought. But yeah, nicely done. And Dread has actually got his finger on the trigger correctly. It's not sticking right out the other side. His finger, see? Very nice.
Yep. It's you're right. It's very Steve Dillon-y. Rogue is making his chimpanzee teeth on there.
Well, it looks like Thrills of the Future, they're going to be dancing all over John Smith's grave again. That looks like one of the characters from the magazine. What was it, Strange and Dark or whatever was the name of the strip? Ugh. Anyway, Dread.
I hope it's a slow burn urban horror story.
Judge Dredd and To the Sea Return Part 1, Rob Williams script, art Henry Flint, and letters Annie Parkhouse.
Dead IsoCube inmates are found floating in the Black Atlantic. It seems they have come from the barge, which is missing, and it was under the watch of Judge Guthrie. Apparently it went into some mist and vanished, and when hitchhikers were sent to locate it, their systems went haywire and they couldn't find Storm. Meanwhile, Anderson, who's now in her early 20s, is searching some location when she meets Alec Marks, who seems confused whilst referencing the barge. She then pushes a door open with her gun hand and has some kind of psi flash and sees loads of dead people and asks Alex, "What have you done?"
Beautiful art, but
Anderson kind of looks like Danny Drew.
Yes. Oh, the fucking main police! They're after me again!
well, what do you think?
I did see somebody write, "Oh, is that Captain Skank on the final page?" And I thought, well, bloody heartbeat to fucking have him suddenly come back after all these years. But I did love that opening layout of the panels. I'm sure you know this, Flint. Isn't there a terminology for this amount of panels where people do this, where it's like very small and very quick to get through to the next part of it?
Yeah,
it's sort of like
it's
like that middle line of panels. You just
it's usually called the Rossy effect. Like when Rossy writes a script, he has to put 20 panels on the page.
That's it.
All right. You get much more story for that.
Bang for your buck.
That's where drama comes from. And I'll put in 50 words in each one of those panels. Make
50 words.
Make you read, God damn it, lazy ass kids.
Yeah. Did you like on the bottom of the second page where Dredd goes, "Dumping perps in the Black Atlantic? I've heard worse ideas." And then the Chief Judge goes, "Was that a joke, Dredd?" And I thought, it was probably a joke like when Dredd pressed the button that flooded the ISO cubes and drowned all those prisoners years ago.
That's right.
We can't have the prisoners getting out. Press the button.
But that was, I think that was a Grant Morrison, Mark Miller story, so it doesn't count.
Wow.
Not as if this story counts either, so there you go.
Oh, dear.
Ooh.
I mean, the art is very nice. The colours are very eye-catching. And I actually did love that the image on the top of the final page with the two images together with the vertical lines going
clever.
slightly diagonal with that across was really eye-catching. But it's opened well enough for me to go. I'd like to see what comes next.
But you know, it's Rob
that's
Williams,
the
so it's
Rob
going to
Williams
take a
trick,
dump at
isn't
some
it?
stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, did you read...
Yep. So
Go ahead.
I'm like, yeah, we've all been there. It's a good introduction. It's a good first episode. The artwork's fantastic. It's a Rob Williams story, yada, yada, yada. I hope for the best, prepared for the worst. So there you go.
Okay, Brass Sun. Let me see, where's the title at? Yeah. Ian Edgerton,
It's
INJ
on the back
Colbert.
page, I think.
Yeah, and Simon Boland. It's like 10 pages.
Mm-hmm. Is this going to be me?
Yes, Mr. Ross.
I remember back in the day when I was the Brass Sun guy. Okay, so see that panel, the last panel of the Dread story?
Yeah.
That guy. That's my face after reading all that type here for the backstory. It after an insane amount of very convoluted and confusing backstory. We cut to the hind leg, which is where this epic saga began, and it doesn't look frozen, but it looks cold because they're climbing up a mountain, and it's all these pilgrims, and there's a twee little mother-daughter animal critters. One of them has to go pee, and there's I guess he's a man of color who's the leader, wise old guy. And after some chit-chat, they all sit down, and he starts to tell the backstory about the character Ren and her grandfather and the war and the computer called Merlin that's gone evil and her relationship with the guy Septimus and fucking who's the author that shows up in all these goddamn stories?
Vonnegut.
Oh, I know you mean that.
Kurt Vonnegut shows up as the blind watchmaker, although he looks like he can see just fine. And then they talk about the planet being turned into this giant model in space. Then they reintroduce the bad guys, including the bronze guy from Excalibur. Woo! And then he kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger, I guess, which is how the story ended before. And they said the results of all that had happened before was catastrophic. And it's like, well, how did they get out of that? Because clearly things ended up not so bad there. And then just like in Planet of the Apes, they zoom out and there's like a statue of the Ren character from the previous arcs.
Remember when they collected this as a trade all those years ago, and now you have to wait this long for it to be concluded.
Yes. Well, they're hoping that you'll just buy it all over again. What was it? There was one. I just saw a solicitation for the complete Full Tilt Boogie, so you can't just buy the final installment or the part 2 of it. You have to rebuy the first part, which nobody did, and then you have to, and then you can get the second half that appeared later, and get the whole enchilada, and just be disappointed that much more when you get to the end. So,
well, it's okay, but it's a huge jump, isn't it, from the last installment that we seen of Brass Sun years ago. It's
I
kind of
think
like
the problem is
yeah.
like you say, when there's a big gap, such a big gap on a very complex, elongated story, you just lose a track. And then putting that previously on Brass Sun at the beginning, and then basically him doing quite a bit of the previously on, did make me laugh.
Yeah, you nailed it, John. There's it's the story is so convoluted at this point with so much backstory. It's really hard to get back into it. And if I remember correctly, the first one kind of went off the rails, and hopefully they'll be able to keep it on track this time.
Yeah. All right. You don't have to do Anderson Side Division if you don't want to, Rossy.
Oh no, I'll do it. I'll
right.
do it.
Flowers
Not
of
only
Evil.
did I do this, I read the
magazine one.
yeah,
as
I
well.
read part 2 as well.
Oh, you poor fool.
In the magazine, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Flowers of Evil Part
Yeah.
1. Alex de Campi, Bob Richardson, or Rob Richardson, and Simon Boland.
All right, so PJ Maybe's sex spot, who is not drawn to be particularly sexy here, is going to go steal something, and then Dredd and Anderson are in the Black Museum, but you have to know that that's the Black Museum because nowhere does it have a caption or a establishing shot to tell you that that's the Black Museum. But Anderson's thinking of quitting, and then they sent Alex de Campi the Titan and Enceladus trade paperbacks because she references the Enceladus energy and the transport suits. So it's the sex bot breaking in to steal this crypto hard drive that's on display at the museum. So Dredd sees with his robot eyes and tells her to freeze. She drops a bomb, and he says, "Respirators down." But Anderson's not wearing her helmet, so she doesn't have a respirator. But Dredd instantly knows that it's suggestion gas. And then this plant comes out of the sex bot's ass, or her side. And she kind of sort of escapes. And then she drops through a hole in the floor, and then Anderson says, "Go get her, Joe." And then the artist decided to put some wrinkles around Anderson's eyes to make her look like she's kind of sort of maybe 50, unlike in the previous installment. So Dredd falls through the floor, tackles the sex bot. The sex bot has flowers growing out of it, and so Dredd gets infected even though just before he gets shot, he shoots her with his incendiary bullet, and he starts to grow flowers out of him, and then the little cleanup droid, it gets better. Then the cleanup droid cleans up the thing that she was trying to steal, and it grows flowers out of it, because, as you know, cleanup droids are organic. There you go. That's part 1.
Do you like
part
when
2 is no better, so...
Do you like when Dredd puts on the respirator and then the next panel it's off? He doesn't have the respirator anymore. And then it's so bad. It really is so bad. Anderson shouts high X, but the explosion looks like a real lame shot for a high X. And then Dredd says incendiary while he's standing right above the robot. The robot's touching him. Wouldn't he be set on fire or something? It's so bad.
Right.
Remember PJ Maybe sex bot?
Well, to me, that's like the PJ Maybe stuff is so John Wagner. Like nobody else should touch it. The way those stories were written, how complicated they were, the character's personality, how Dredd reacted to him. There was like those were like Wagner at his finest, and nobody else should even think of touching it. And to make this like a throwaway character that just gets incendiaried off panel, I mean, Jesus Christ. But to be fair, there's another version of the robot that it uploads its mind into. Spoiler for the one if you read the magazine story. But yeah, it's like I don't even. It's such a the problem is it's such a throwaway, but it's got like stuff in it that was like big when it came out, like having the PJ maybe bot be this throwaway character in this throwaway story. The artwork is generally okay. I kind of like that retro artwork, but again, it's at best it's okay. But then there's all this other stuff in it that's like Dread growing flowers out of him. It's like
What do you think, John?
if somebody only read whatever trade
Paperback, yeah.
Well, when I went down to T.G. Jones, because there's not Smiths anymore in the shops in the high street. Smiths is only in the airports and ports and stuff. I picked it up. I went straight to this to see what it looked like, and I thought, this looks terrible. I went to the magazine, had a flick through that, and I went, I'm not reading this story. It is rubbish, and I'm disgusted that they're still doing the story that continues in the Meg. I think it's disgraceful. You know what I mean? It's
not even
cheap,
an epic either.
shoddy way of trying to get you to buy it. Well, I know. Now, the thing with this is there was loads of stuff, exactly what you were saying, shouting out Hayek's and this and the other, incendiary, too close to things and this and the other. Now, Dredd sees the person in a stealth suit, and he says freeze, right? And they'd actually made Dredd look robotic with those, actually robotic with the eyes. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's the whole idea of it, but it looks weird. Yet he, with his mega super eyes that can see excellently, he still lets her drop that grenade and doesn't shoot her. You know what I mean? It's like, what? And exactly what you were saying, he has his respirator off within a couple of panels of him having the respirator on, and he somehow knows what the gas is. How on earth did he know that?
I mean, from the smell. I mean, some of it you could kind of go like, but it's like, but then the fact that you asked that question at all, it's just kind of like another thing to take you out of it. You know what I mean? And then the respirator disappearing, like that could have happened between panels or
the smoke. He's still in the gas. Look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was hammy and boring. It's what I expect from a person who hates people anyway.
Yeah, you talk about the queen of cancel culture. I mean, we didn't mention it before, and I won't make it part of the review, but it's just kind of like whatever. I understand because she's got a partnership with Duncan Jones, and they are desperately trying to make Rogue Trooper a thing. So when she's written that one Rogue Trooper story for the special or whatever that one and done from years ago, so she has a history with it, so I could understand. And she's kind of a well-known name, for better or for worse, so I could understand bringing her in for a Rogue Trooper story leading up to the release of the movie. But to do that and then give her this Anderson story, just kind of out of the blue, to have her, triple up, because it's this plus the magazine plus the Rogue Trooper story. It's like, oh man, she has to know where the bodies are buried, because yeesh.
I mean, that bit where on the final page where Dredd's skewed with all those plants, right? You just think, oh, do you know what? I might want to actually read what goes on with that. But then you just think, do you know what? I can't be bloody arsed.
True. Oh. It's very true. It looks and feels like bits and pieces of past stories. Like that plant growing out of him feels like something like if you'd only read the Eagle comics from the 80s, and then they mailed you like a couple of trade paperbacks of recent things to kind of get you up to date. That's sort of what that would be. But
We'll
anyway.
move on. We'll move on. The Voice in the Hollow text page, text story with some drawings by T.C. Eglinton and Simon Davis. Anybody read it?
No, because I don't read novellas in a comic.
Yep.
No. I did. It's a Thistlebone story. It's about a kid who's bullied, and then he hides in a tree, and then the Thistlebone thing comes, and the kid who had bullied him gets bullied back, and then everybody dies. It was not. It's a typical Thistlebone story, and it was okay, and the wood cuttings were nicely done. What happens, what you see in the wood cuttings is what happens in the story. So
yeah, they did that before, didn't they? They did one of these before, and I actually did read it, and it's exactly what you said, Ross. In that imagery around the words, that's what's actually happening in the story.
Yeah, I mean, to be a little more specific, they bully this kid, and they get him to play a hide and seek game. So he hides in this tree stump and gets stuck in it, and then the Thistlebone fox shows up, and I forgot if he gets out or just dies in there. But the kid who does the bullying, like, he's miserable for the rest of his life, and he dies a horrible death. So, Thistlebone.
Okay. Another story I didn't read. Void Runners, Book 2, Part 1, David Heim, Boo Cook, Annie Parkhouse.
Okay. Is this me again, John?
Yes, my darling.
Oh, God. All right, so we're reintroducing the world of Void Runners in Book 2. So there's a planet where there's the master and servant. There's the skinny slave people, and then the fat, slovenly monogender, as they are described. The prima are monogender. They have no conception of love or family, living only for their pleasure. The Manjukas are passionate and form strong bonds of love and friendship. In their own way, they are contented. So our heroes are reintroduced, the crew of the ship, and then the ambiguously gendered alien with the beard, basically the bearded lady, shows up and gives everybody a bong, and then she's going to get everybody high to break them of this binary culture that they have. And then the evil church aliens show up and start shooting. And they say no witnesses, and there is a witness. So the only appealing thing about this to me is Boo Cook's artwork. I mean, it's a tour de force for Boo Cook, right? The premise, I don't like hippie shit. The drug thing doesn't appeal to me. The premise is, everybody's going to get, the baddies are using drugs to keep everybody like entranced, and the hero crew are going to use their drugs to free everybody up. It's like, I actually liked Carlos Castaneda's books, but he gave up on the drug shit after the first one. And then there was a lot of philosophy and interesting takes on life and everything that kind of propelled the rest of the series, and the relationship between Don Juan and the Carlos Castaneda character. That's what kept those books going. And this is just kind of like Boo Cook's artwork and a lot of really great visuals. So it's harmless. It's okay. I wish they hadn't brought it back. I thought it ended well in the first one, but that's what the Prog is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think, John?
I love the artwork. I think it's because I've seen the original page of the pencils, and then obviously he does this on top on the old sheet. It's I love the pencils, and I love this because it adds so much more. But the pencils give you all the weird details, and I just think his art's exceptional. I just love it. I mean, his ability to find the weirdness in everything. You know what I mean? It's just wondrous. And obviously, he has a penchant for the colour purple. So, but the story to me is like, well, I read it, but it doesn't sort of hit any mark for me. It's sort of like when the action really kicks off later on, then I sort of get like, right, I'm enjoying it now. But at the moment, it's just like, let's get some action, please.
All right, we have a good image of Death. Death is coming for you this October, so they're trying to make Death a big thing again now. But that's a good image by Carl Richardson. And I don't know who writes their copy for our ads, but the Rogue Trooper ad, it says, a brand new updated edition of the complete Rogue Trooper comic series, including chronological stories and colored pages, ideal for new readers and collectors ahead of the upcoming film by Duncan Jones, releasing throughout 2025 and 2026. Who writes that? Releasing throughout 2025 and 2026. That's nonsense. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like, we can't get the date right, but let's just put 2025 and 20. Like, yeah. I think the new Marvel movie is going to be releasing between 2026 and 2030. What do you think? New Marvel movies. It's a stupid thing to put.
I can't wait for it.
Okay, Rossy's favorite. Rogue Trooper by Alex DeCampi, Neil Edwards, Matt Soff, and the Cosplay Cowboy, Dim Dumbbell.
Right. Way before the Drop Zone Massacre, and we see the GIs being prepped, above all, to hate the Republicans. Sorry, the Norths. Also, 10 years ago on Old Earth, at a Veterans Welfare meeting, Lieutenant Nygaard asks Gordon McEnroe if he knew Sergeant Nathaniel Hurley, to which he replies that he was his best friend, but he was sent off for special training and he never heard from him again. Anyway, this Nygaard wants McEnroe to head back to New Earth to find a lost base that Hurley was at. Woo! So,
Wow.
Earth is called Old Earth, or is that who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I didn't bother reading it.
I found this boring. I found it boring. I mean, the second and third page was just like, oh god, it's the brainwashing of Rogue with his chip, or whoever the character is. I presume it's Rogue. So that didn't do anything for me. And then you get the Old Earth 10 years later. Oh, I thought it was a go. Fucking hell. Anyway, so you get the old vet talk, and it's just the way he gets talked to. I mean, when Nygaard's saying, I'm from Intelligence Corps, he's going, I'm looking at the experience. You knew him, didn't you? Well, he obviously knew that he knew him because he was his best friend. If he's from the Intelligence Corps, he must have known more than you just knew him. So he obviously has the background info. But to me, it's just like, oh God, it's just, I think this is going to be a terrible version of where Rogue was hunting down the traitor general. We're going to have this below now hunting down to find out his mate on a very pathetic way. So I'm not even interested in it at all. Again, we've said it before. You know, I remember when Rennie said there was no Dread Tales to say it, and that's why I didn't want to do Dread. What a hypocrite he turned out to be. But I do believe there are no tales of Rogue Trooper to talk now. When he did the Traitor General and a couple of other little one-offs and done sort of thing, there is nothing left to tell with Rogue. He's a bland character doing nothing really. He has no impact. He is, to me, when I get annoyed with Dredd surviving everything that's thrown at him as one man, he's the greatest judge in history. He might as well be Rambo in Vietnam sort of thing, you know what I mean? I get this with Rogue now. It's like, come on, this is ridiculous. He's fighting the Kassan Legion by himself. He's defeating them, yet the whole of the GIs couldn't defeat them when they were trapped. It's just like, can we let it rest? You know what I mean? I know you're promoting for the film, but if you're going to promote the film, come up with some decent stories that make you want to be involved. You've made Rogue Trooper into a third-rate strip, and I'm not saying it's because of this strip. It's the strips that have led up to this. There's nothing that's exciting. It's just bland. And when you've got to do all these New Earth tales that are stories around the character of Rogue, to me that tells me everything. You might as well just have the tales from the Black Museum. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're desperately trying to do the make the New Earth a thing. They're trying to do, you know how they say about Dredd, like, oh, you know, the stories are about Mega City 1 and Dredd just happens to be a character in it. And it's like, well, yes and no. I mean, when Wagner writes Dredd, he's got some story, like the PJ Maybe stories. You get to see a lot of Dredd's character come out, and those are interesting. Dredd gets, like, the one and dones are kind of just like Crime of the Week, and you see less of Dredd's character, but the longer stories and the later stories by Wagner, you know, Dredd became much more of a character. Rogue Trooper, it's been so long, and he's been kind of mishandled by so many different writers now. It's kind of like, I don't see how you, unless you try to do once again like they tried to do with Friday and eliminate the past, reboot it. But every time you reboot it, you kind of do some damage to it as well. So what are you going to do?
Well, Rogue is basically 2000 AD's Hawkman. It's all convoluted crap, like his past and his history. But I thought it was a mistake. With this, I think it's a mistake to have Old Earth, like, because that just takes you completely out of the strip. Because you always got the impression that this was a galaxy, like in a different galaxy somewhere, like a galaxy-wide conflict, with New Earth being a strategic point in it. And by putting this on Old Earth, where it's a meeting, meeting of veterans, it kind of it takes away the fantastical elements of Rogue, and it makes it really dull and boring. But I expect that from the campy anyway, because all their stuff is really dull and boring. I do like the art, but on the first page, how big are those Rogue? Are those GIs? They're like tiny. They're like midgets on the bottom panel.
I know.
Yeah, I was wondering where they were going with that.
Yeah. It's not for me. I mean, it's just dull and boring. All right. So, what was your favorite?
Right, now this is very strange that I'm going to do now. I can't pick a strip because I didn't like any of them really. So I'm going to go.
Wow.
I'm going to go with the art on Void Runners and the one bit at the very beginning of Brass Sun, the previously on Brass Sun, because I enjoyed reading that because it reminded me of how difficult the story was. So that one little bit and the art of the other strip, that's me.
What about you, Rossy?
To me, for a
go ahead, John.
No, go ahead, finish, John.
Oh, I was just for me, for a jump on Prog, and I say this with no happiness. It's one of the worst progs I've ever read in my life.
Wow.
Well, it says
I'm saying wow because I kind of agree with you there.
Yeah, and it says it's 52 pages, but it's really not, because eight of the pages I think are ads. So they did the same with the magazine. If you look at the magazine and count the pages, the magazine's supposed to have 100 pages, but I think there's like 30 pages that are just nonsense. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I'll agree with John, though. That's probably the worst jump on Prog I've read as well. But I'll go for Henry Flint's art and Dredd as my favorite.
Okay. I'm gonna stick to the rules and just go with Brass Sun. But this is like this would have been like a third tier story in a Prog from 10, 20 years ago. So this is like I say, there's like the main story would be Dread, Stormy Dog, whatever. There'd be like the mid tier stories that it's like, oh, they brought that back, cool. And then there's like the ones where they kind of experiment with and or future shocks, and Brass Sun's kind of like that third tier story, even though they tried desperately to make it at least a second tier story. And I think they thought this was going to be the one that brought them like a new audience, because they really pushed it hard last time it came out. Because it had a female protagonist, strong female lead in a romance. So it's like, yay. But so anyway, I'm going to give it to Brass Sun because they really did seem to care, and they really did try to create this new thing, and the artwork is very different. And I'm not as completely turned off by it as I am for the Void Runners. And since we all know, I don't think Rob Williams is going to disappoint about 3 to 6 installments in. So it's probably going to turn the shit around that time. So we'll see.
Okie dokie. So anything to say before we hit the road?
I think we're seeing the proper death knell of the magazine, because when I did flick through it on the shelf, I saw exactly what you mean. The amount of adverts, the amount of articles, they're on about
reprint. A lot of there's reprint in it as well.
They haven't.
Yeah.
They sort of doubled down on it. A lot of print, and I did notice that I personally believe that a couple of those strips that are in there, new written strips, the stuff that was going to be in the kids Prog thing, the Regine thing. It looks like that to me. So for a magazine that was aimed at the older market, to then fill it with stuff for the kids market, the children's market, what a kick in the teeth that all the people were still buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the Stuart K. Moore strip is pretty fun, but they do have the Cadet Dread stuff in there that was regened. They have a lot of articles in there too, and like one kind of Future Shock, Black Museum type Future Shock, reprint of Robot Archie that nobody wants, but there you go. I mean, they shoved it, and even Rock of the Reds is a reprint.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the Archie thing, they're obviously bring out an Archie book, I presume. That's why that's in there.
Yeah, it's a big ad.
I mean, the Rock of the Reds. I bought that Rock of the Red. Yeah.
So nearly half of the magazine is filler.
And it breaks my heart to not buy the magazine. Yeah, but like I say, it breaks my heart that I'm not buying the magazine because they made me not buy it. You know what I mean? I stuck with it for a good 5 years when it was bad for me. You know what I mean? But I wanted to be full of good stuff, but they then went, right, we're going to do these alterations. Well, to me, it made it even worse. You know what I mean? And I just think, and I think it's £7.50 now, which is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. But for some people, it is an amount of money that they can't frivolously waste on reading a comic. So yeah, it is a bit strange. And I know the Prog goes up. I presume the Prog goes up next week. But to me, with the Prog, I would rather have the Prog this size every week and get rid of the magazine.
Actually, that's a good idea.
Or make the Prog, and then you've got more to expand. You can have these 10-page stories that you're going to get the next. You can have a mega epic every week coming up because you can get 10 pages of the story this week, 10 pages next week of the Dread. So you're really getting a really continuous story. And also the more difficult reads of something like Brass Sun, you're not getting such a short 5 or 6 pages between each bit. You're getting something substantial. So the writers then can start writing something without having a cliffhanger every other bloody page. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the Mega is going to be done in the next couple of years. I think maybe they'll wait till the 50th anniversary and then pull the plug on it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. I think I'll stop recording.